Welcome to the Elevate Your Brand podcast, where we help online coaches learn how to elevate their brand, become the experts in their industries so they can bring in more clients and create a life they want. I am your host, Chris Anderson. And if you want to make a difference in the lives of others, share this episode, go over to Apple Podcasts and follow us there to leave a positive rating and review. And together we can leave a bigger positive mark on the world. Going to dive into how to approach people to be a guest on your show. Some of you might be a little bit nervous approaching people that you look up to or someone you just would be excited to chat with. And you get nervous, you get cold feet, and you don't want to reach out and you don't want to approach them because you don't think that they would ever be a guest on your show. You're not to that level yet. Why would they want to speak on your show? Well, guess what? If you don't reach out, they definitely won't be a guest on your show. But if you do, you can at least start that process of building that relationship to hopefully one day have them on the show. And you might be surprised. Maybe they'll say yes right away. And you can have the person you've always wanted on your show. So I'm going to walk you through some guidelines, some steps that you can take to approach someone to be a guest on your podcast. These steps are the steps that I took when I started out to get people on my show, like Glenn Lundy, people like Shari Hawkins, U.S. gold medalist, people of that caliber. This is how I did it. And I'm going to show you how to do it too. So you don't have to worry about how to go about reaching out to people. Plus, I give you some bonus tips at the end on where you can go to find these guests and make it easier on yourself. So let's dive into it. How to approach guests to be on your show. So the first thing you want to do, obviously, unless you already know the person, you're following them, you like their story, you like what they're putting out there. If you don't know them or you're trying to find somebody, get some more information on them. Go do a little bit of research. See what they are putting out on social media. Look at their website. Look at other shows or episodes they've been on. Get a little background information on them. Not only does this give you a sense of who that person is more in depth, a sense of what they like to talk about or what they're good at talking about, how they talk about things, even their setup if you're watching other video episodes they've been on, but it helps you prepare questions for them. Maybe you hear them get asked the same question over and over and over again, so you come at it from a different perspective. So by doing your research, finding out more about the person, you can bring more thought-provoking questions, newer questions, fresher questions, what they're going to like, because it's going to be different than every other episode they're on, and you're going to get good information. And so you're just going to stand out amongst the crowd by doing a little research. And when you approach them, that's the first step, is you want to make some sort of connection. Hey, Bobby, I saw you wrote this brand new book. It sounds amazing. I've loved the content you've put out on social media, and I can't wait to see and read your book. I would love to have you on the show to dig into that topic. And of course, share with my audience about your book, that it's coming out, that it came out, and get that in front of my audience. I'd love to have you on and be able to do that for you. That's a great opener. That's a great way to connect with someone new who you'd love to have their expertise on your show by showing them that you're going to give value to them by, hey, I want to highlight you and what you're doing and your new book and get more people to buy it, basically. So that's a great opener, is connecting with that person in some way by complimenting them, by showing that you have seen what they're doing, that you're paying attention and you're not just doing generic emails to everybody, blind karma copy. So connect with them on a personal level somehow. And then when you are using that approach, you can do it in a multiple pronged attack, so to say. Of course, social media. You can send some messages, interact with their posts to get in front of them and have them recognize your name. Send those messages and don't go straight up and ask. Just say, hey, I love that post. That really stood out to me. Thanks for posting. I needed that today. In the email form, they can get a little bit more direct with it, like we just mentioned. Connect it to something they're doing or something they've done and talk about them, talk about what they're doing and how amazing it is, and that you'd like to lift them up even more in front of your audience. So through an email form, you can get more direct to it. But don't feel bad when you don't hear back from them. It might take a couple emails, a couple messages, a handful of messages, a handful of emails before you hear a response, depending on their level and how busy they are. But don't give up. But extend that message out through social media, through emails to start the conversation. And again, so first, you're doing your research, finding out a little bit about them, find out what they've got going on, what they're pushing out there, some relevant things that you can bring to the conversation to start it, and then start the conversation. Have that message sent, send that email, do it, and then start that relationship building through those messages. And then as you progress through those conversations, through those correspondence back and forth, eventually you're going to be able to share about your show,
Share about who your audience is and why you think they fit, what they're going to bring to your audience, and then why your audience would want to hear from them and hear about their book or hear about their thing. And so now you make the connection between the two. Hey, Bob, you're doing this great thing, talking about this great topic. My audience is looking for things like that. They're looking to learn about that because it helps them X, Y, and Z. So I think there's a great connection here to bring value to everyone involved. My show, and this is where you can get a little bit of stats, especially if you have some, if you've been doing it for a while. Hey, we have over 200 episodes. We're top 2% globally. We're charted across the world on different charts. And I would love to put you in front of my audience who is engaged and consistently coming back to listen for more. So if that's something that you would like, great, let's get it set up. And then that opens the door to actually getting it scheduled. Sometimes you're going to be talking to their assistant. Sometimes you're going to be talking to another team member in the PR department or something like that. It doesn't matter. Whoever you're talking with is going to have access to their calendar. So once they're like, hey, yeah, this is a great fit. Bob would love to be on your show to talk about X topic, share his book at the end, all that fun stuff. Great. Awesome. This is where it changes. It depends how busy your guest is, how big your guest is, how busy they are. Okay. If they have millions and millions of followers, they're going to be probably pretty busy. And you're going to want them on the show. So you're going to want to see from their person, their teammate, hey, what's Bob's availability in the next week or two? Start with that. See how they respond. Hey, he's not available for another 3 months. Hey, no problem. I get it. When's the first availability that he has to record an hour session or block off an hour to record with me? And then they'll give you the dates and times, and you better darn hope you can make it work and not figure out how to make it work, especially if it's a big name guest you've been waiting for so long to have on the show. You got to have that flexibility in your schedule and be willing to move things around to have someone of high caliber on your show to share, because the chance might not always come back twice. So have that flexibility in your schedule to be able to do that, especially with someone who's a super high caliber individual. If you had Grant Cardone or Ed Milet or Alex Hormozi, whatever it is, I would want to have the flexibility to get them on the show if they said, hey, this is the only time I'm available. All right, let's do it. And then make it work. Now, of course, if you approach someone like me who's nowhere near their size or their stature in the business world yet, we get to that point, hey, yeah, no, I'd love to be on your show. Great. Just go ahead and send me your calendar link to schedule onto your calendar what works, and I can choose what's best for me based on your calendar. So that's another way to do it. So even if it's Grant Cardone or whoever it is, Alex Hormozi, if you're talking to their VA or you're talking to whoever, say, hey, could you give me some availability to talk with them? Or I can send my calendar link and you guys can pick what's best for them that way. So you give them the option. That's also a viable way to do it. And they can say, yeah, he's free at this day, on this day, at this time. Or yeah, hey, we'll use your calendar and get it scheduled. Thanks. So you got to be mindful of that and give them those two options when scheduling, and that'll make things a little bit easier. Because you definitely want to be flexible. You definitely want them to know that you're flexible because they're going to be busy. They're going to have busy schedules. I have a busy schedule and I'm not Alex Hormozi. So be ready to maybe move things around or have to reschedule because big meetings come up or family things even can come up. So being able to have that flexibility and letting them know that you have that will help them be more apt to say, yeah, let's get this scheduled. And then if something does come up, they're more likely to reschedule because you gave them that ability to be flexible. So that's why it's important to do that. And then always be grateful, always be thankful for these individuals that you're talking with. Thank them for their time if you get on a pre-call. Thank them for their time through the emails, correspondence. Hey, thanks for taking time out to just respond to this email. Give me the time of day. So just come in with gratitude. And then when you do record, just again, thank them. Time is our most valuable asset, no matter who you are. So if someone's giving you an hour, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, it's valuable. So make sure to thank them and mean it and show them that you care and do the best you can to put the best content out because they're giving you your time, and that's important. And that goes with follow-ups too. Say you haven't heard back after a couple emails, you're sending another correspondence out, like just say, hey, thank you so much again for taking time to read this. I understand how busy your schedule could be. I'm just touching base again to see if you'd be interested to being on my show to talk about X, Y, and Z, to tell my audience about your book, your product, your service, whatever that's coming out. Looking forward to hearing back from you. So that's the process. That's all it is. You just got to do it. Just do it. Be confident, be respectful, and yeah, be a person, build a relationship, and just go at it. And now here's some tips, some secret places, not really secret, but some places you can go to find some really great guests. They're just great resources to use. And I'll make sure to link all these below in the show notes. wherever you're watching or listening, you can go and check them out as well. So I'm going to give you 4 places that you can go to. All are free, but some do have paid tiers as well, but you can do it for free. The first, there's some Facebook groups, podcast guesting. That's where I started. Free Facebook groups. So just search podcast guest in the search, find some groups, get in there, say, hey, I have the show. I'm looking for these guests talking about these topics. Would love for you to consider being a guest. You're going to get a lot of messages on that or comments on that. You're going to get some messages. You're going to have to sort through a lot. So that's where, here's another tip, having a guest intake form comes in. So you can send them that link. They fill out a form, just a Google form for free. That's where I started. They fill out that form, give you the information you need to make the decision going forward. It also has a consent form that they can say, yes, I agree to this. And then you can email them from that. Hey, I think you're a great fit for our show. Let's do it. Here's my calendar link to get scheduled. Or, hey, I appreciate you taking time to fill this out. At this time, probably not the best fit for my audience, but if someone comes across my network that is looking for a guest that you fit the bill, I'll pass your name along. Thank you. So that's how you do that within Facebook groups, because you'll get a lot of people talking to you and wanting to be a guest. And when you start out, maybe you have the room to do that. I know I did, and just take on anyone who fit it. Eventually, you have to narrow down and kind of be a little bit more choosy. And that's, again, why we charge a spot for podcast guests who reach out to us, because they're getting free marketing. A really good show and a very low investment to be a guest just kind of separates the ones who are serious and who are going to be a good fit versus the others. So Facebook groups, that's a good free place to start if you're just starting out. The next 3 are online platforms that you can go on, search for guests. Some are you have to pay to be a guest or to have the guest. Some are you just make connections. The first one is Guestio.com, Guestio.com. You can go on there. There's some big name people on there you can connect with. You can pitch them being on your show and vice versa to be on their show. Now, there is a monetization aspect that you have to pay for both of those, but it's a good place to get in front of some bigger name people. So it could be another one is called Matchmaker.fm. It's not a dating site. It is for podcast guesting, and it's a really good one to go on. And they have a big network on there to find a lot of high caliber guests as well. And the last one is Podmatch. Again, it's just another dashboard online platform that you can go on, put your profile on there for your show, for you as a guest, or to have guests, and you can get connected with people to see if they're a fit. And then you can schedule through there and everything. It makes it pretty streamlined. So those are some good platforms that you can do today. Start getting involved there and start finding some really great guests. So I hope this episode brought value to you. I hope you're able to go out there, implement these things, find some other great guests for your show if you're looking. And if you're looking for someone to come talk about video podcasting or starting a business from nothing during a pandemic, literally quitting his job with $0, burning through savings and building a 6-figure business, reach out. Don't be scared. I'd love to have a conversation to see if we're a fit. Again, hope this brought value to you. Look forward to hearing from you. Follow me on Instagram at chris.t.anderson for more content. And until next time, continue to go out, keep elevating everything you do. We'll talk next time.
And thanks so much for tuning into this episode today. If you found value at all from this episode, please leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. It just helps us get this show, these messages out in front of more people. And don't forget to share this with someone who you think could benefit from listening to as well.